This next piece is called Saving a Dead Baby. And I'll explain the title as the story unfolds to you. I was just driving to work one morning about 7:30 in the morning in deep, deep fog. I came up to an intersection with a stop sign, and as I stopped, I could see into the intersection, and there had obviously been an accident. There were two cars there, a big Dodge van and a little import. The Dodge van had the whole front end was smashed in. The import was apparently knocked backwards down the highway from the direction it was coming at the collision. So you go, okay, there's an accident. I've seen accidents before, but there was no emergency equipment there. So obviously I discovered this accident. There were nobody trying to help anybody. There was no emergency equipment. I didn't even have a cell phone with me. That's how old this story is. The little car looked to be in more trouble than the van because of its size. So I ran to it. It was turned around 180 degrees from the way it had been traveling on the highway. I looked inside. There was an 18-year-old girl, little skinny thing, maybe 88 pounds, and no motion whatsoever. Her chest was not moving to indicate breathing. So I figured this person was dead. This 18-year-old girl, somebody's baby, no doubt, still living at home, I would think. And I was going to have to explain to her parents how I found her at that moment. By that time, I had another rescuer at my arm, and I told him, when I opened the door, I need you to support her head. She might have a head injury. I popped the door open. He caught her head exactly as I instructed him. I folded her seat back. Still, no breath. I could not sense breath, and her chest was not moving to indicate breath, and I could not find a pulse. My first reaction, instead of diving head first into being a hero, my first reaction was to get angry. Like, oh God, what did I do to get up this morning to have this responsibility put on me? Just about the time I began to deliver life-saving, which means artificial respiration and heart massage to get her heart pumping, she breathed in a huge, deep, groaning breath. And apparently, she wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and apparently during the accident, she'd been bounced off the steering wheel and just had the breath knocked out of her. Thank God. By this time, there were sirens, and within 60 seconds after I heard the sirens, there were firemen at the door of the car, so I could step back. Although I was covered with blood, I had blood all over my hands and all over the front of my shirt from moving her and putting my head down to her chest to see if I could find a breath or a heartbeat. I had blood on my cuffs from trying to find a pulse. And I remember this was right after the AIDS scare started, and I asked these two firemen who'd arrived in a pumper truck, which is a truck full of water. I said, is there any way you guys can get some water out of that so I can wash my hands off? And sure enough, they just turned a valve on the side of the truck, and there I could wash all the open blood and kind of damp my coat and my shirt off. And she survived. It wasn't that serious of an accident. I remember I walked back to the van after the firemen got to the little import, and there were children crying inside. And by this time, their mother had arrived in another vehicle. Kids are inside crying. She's standing outside the van. And I just said, ma'am, would you please go into the car here, into the vehicle here, and comfort your children? So the kids weren't hurt at all. They were just scared. Now, that's Tim Domenico's story about saving a dead baby. My next story will be about recovering a dead baby, recovering a body, being a principal actor in recovering a body from a creek in Denver. And as we pulled the body out of the water, the mother was there, and she screamed. That article is titled Recovering a Dead Baby.